Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins, and here I am. It's day 3 in Scotland. It's middle of the night back there, but it's morning here. And I was thinking about something. You guys know I wrote a book called Financial Lovemaking, which is all about love and money and how love and money kind of connect. You'd be amazed at how much economic theory actually applies directly to relationships of all kinds. And I saw this interesting thing with Lala Anthony and Carmelo. Carmelo. He actually played at Syracuse when I used to teach there, and I remember watching his career kind of take off. And he was a great basketball player, and apparently there's some situation going on with another woman or a baby's mama or something, right? And first of all, these stories are a little bit strange to me because I find it really weird. It's strange to me that people act surprised, when they find out that an athlete has other women. I think that it's almost like people build this fantasy in their head of what their relationship is supposed to be like, and it's never really very consistent with reality. It's almost like a father who thinks that his 18-year-old daughter is always a virgin and always innocent, always a sweet little girl, when we know that that's not true. Most 18-year-old girls are not innocent, sweet little girls, right? And so, I think that sometimes we do that, where we try to create these storybook fairy tale, really, honestly, bullshit scenarios with, professional athletes who have millions of dollars in their pocket, a lot of free time, and a lot of women, and a lot of testosterone. And actually, scientists show that testosterone is linked to a very, 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 very high sex drive. So, it almost seems like you've got two types of basketball wives. You got those that I would consider to be the realists, who say, look, I want the money and I want the lifestyle. I know things are going to happen. And then you got the ones that almost live in like a fantasy, that kind of somehow think that this marriage is going to be just like if you were married to the guy who works at the post office. Now, again, this is not to discredit or to challenge Lala or Carmelo, and I believe Lala is more realistic about it than we give her credit for. I think that it's the rest of the world that's like, oh my God, it's such a surprise. But I'm a guy that's been watching these stories for years, and I see them all the time. And every time I'm like, oh, here we go. Another situation, like Wendy Williams. Like, you really, I know Wendy Williams for a long time. I know, and Kevin Hunter, I knew of her husband for a long time. And I think it's so weird that people are behaving like this is some sort of little, like fairy tale situation where this innocent, sweet little woman was cheated on by this horrible husband, when the fact is, Wendy probably knew about his girlfriend 20 years ago. That was how they made it work. A lot of your Hollywood couples that you think are these model relationships are not model relationships. They're, some of them are open relationships, but they play the part when the public finds out about it because they know it fits a specific narrative. And I only talk about that because I think it's important for anybody who's looking for a relationship to not believe the nonsense they see in TV and see in media. Most of the time, the way they present it on TV is nothing like what's really happening behind the scenes. And so I would almost say that if you're going to become a basketball wife, the fact is that usually comes with a certain reality, and it's up to you to decide if you're comfortable with that reality or not. But it's very strange to me. It's almost like when a man tries to make a hoe into a housewife. Like he marries a stripper, and he's surprised that the stripper, is still trying to strip and make money after she becomes a housewife. Well, she was a stripper when you met her. She's gonna be a stripper after you marry her, and 9 times out of 10, not every time, but 9 times out of 10. So it's not me trying to throw a wet blanket on people's relationships. It's me just saying, if little things like that are going to throw you off and make you not want to be married, you probably shouldn't do it at all, because divorce is actually one of the most expensive financial drains that there is. There's a whole divorce industry. Go watch a documentary called Divorce Corp, C-O-R-P, written by it's done by Dr. Drew, and he shows how family courts literally laugh and they make fun. They make billions of dollars a year off of broken relationships, because they know that most of the people that get married aren't going to stay that way because they have unrealistic expectations in the beginning, and so you can't tell me that if I'd asked you 5 years ago, I said, how much money would you bet that Carmelo Anthony or some NBA player making $20 million a year is being 100% faithful all the time? You probably wouldn't have made that bet. You wouldn't have took that bet. So I think that what's happened here is he's betrayed a fantasy. and now everyone's acting like it's such a big deal, and she's exploring legal options, and this is, I mean, and you don't know what's going on in her personal life. We act like the men are always the bad guys, and no, it's always more complicated than what it looks like. And that's just me giving some OG advice to people that really want to know the truth. Usually situations are far more complex than the way they make them appear in media. Usually in media, the story is always kind of the same, whereas when I get to know people and I see what they deal with and what they go through, the stories are usually much more complicated than you think. So anyway, I'm out of here, guys. Take care. Have a good day. And if you live in London or near London, I'm going to actually go down to London and do a pop-up event, just a meet and greet, July 8th. You can go to drboycelondon.com if you want to get a pass, drboycelondon.com. So feel free to join me in London. Hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe. And if you live anywhere else and you can't make it to London and you want to learn to buy your first share of stock, you guys know my PhD's in finance. So that's what I used to teach in the finance. I was a finance faculty member at Syracuse when Carmelo was there. I'd love to teach you guys how to buy your first share of stock, because I want to get 1 million black people invested in the stock market within the next year and a half. I believe I can do it in the next 1 to 2 years. So go to blackmoney100.com, blackmoney100.com. See you guys soon. Be good. Peace.